Okay, hi everybody, my name is Juno. I'm going to talk about web design. It's going to be a seamless transition from what Dana talked about before into how everything that we just learned is translating to the computer digital world. So first of all, who knows what web design is?
So, you know, sort of, you start writing in code and you got to come up with something that you can use on the internet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's using code to create images and text on the page on a website.
Yeah, it's part of it. Cool. Yep.
I was going to say, I think web design is probably more of this piece of understanding how web pages work and standards for navigating web pages and what content works well on them.
Exactly. Well, it's actually, all of the answers you mentioned is how to conceptualize and plan something, like images, arrange images, information, data, and then translate it into a web page, right? There's a lot of things that play, like layout, selection of font, colors, which are really important, the images you use, and basically the user interface, like the ability, how it actually functions at the end. That's all the elements that they play all together with that. So I'm going to start just saying that these are my main 8 points of web design and how you can implement things, just tweaking little things for your website. Then I'm going to be talking about how to properly resizing images, which is mostly what people have blogs or something and they don't know about this. And then we're going to create on Canva some design so we can implement it in our websites or web projects. So the first point here is like web design. A website nowadays, you see like all these, the trend is like clean, modern websites, it's kind of like the new trendy design, but actually it's great because it's simple. Simple is beautiful and it works awesome just to get the right message straight through, to the visitors, because like sometimes like websites from the 90s, they used to have like a lot of stuff and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like so much info you cannot focus, right? Like the eye. That needs to go like, if you have like simple space, like in the website, the messages, cuts through. Second point here is the design. Design is paramount, which means it's basically like the layout, how you organize first and kind of like think like, okay, if this is the message, I have the images, how I'm gonna present it so the actual user can understand, right? Like this is related to this and also it's more impactful. It plays also, but you just show us about the layout and making something stand out more and how you regroup and how you actually put things together. It can be some elements, but it also at the end has to have like a certain cleanliness, like a pattern, like a structure, organization. Consistency. Consistency is really important because I don't know if you have seen websites, you go to web page and it looks like another website. And you're like, wow, what's, is this the same website or not? But they just send you to, change colors, change fonts. So this is really key just to have the same color palette. Usually you work this with a designer. The designer gets like all the proper color style, right? It's called the color, the print, the style sheet, kind of like style sheet. And once you have that, you just basically, those are your color availables for the website. Usually in web design is recommended use 2 colors, just 2 main colors that are gonna be the main, and you have the accent color, which is for the buttons, for the links, for some other things you kind of wanna accent and pop for the user to do something, like call to actions, banners. Usually they put like like one banner, like it's different color. That's the secondary or accent color.
Are black and white included in that for the 2, or it's like 2 colors plus 1?
Yeah, unless your design is black and white, I mean, you could, but still you still need another extra, right?
Okay.
Because if your button is black, and everything is black and white, it won't pop. I mean, you could if it's part of the design, but I mean, usually I've seen really web design with black and white, and
So what's the two accents?
yeah, or no, just one accent color. And for example, it goes really well with gold or pink. I've seen like girls' websites with pink. It pops, right? And also here we can talk about a little bit of the fonts, which is also part of the consistency. The fonts are really important because like sometimes you are reading stuff that like Dana said, like you can't really read capital letters, or there are some types of fonts that it's very difficult to read, and mostly this simple trendy web design, like it's important, for example, to be at least on the main parts of text have like a font that you can read, like sans serif. Sans serif means without, like all this plain. But there's also serif options that you can, well, when I talk about later, so for the blog sometimes they use serif and it looks really good too. The web design also should be responsive. Sometimes this is coordinated with the designer. The designer can give you, this is how we work with designers. We have like the desktop version and the mobile version. And the web developers, is our work to go and through the code make the designs match exactly as they come from the designers, and this is called pixel perfect coding. So like all the dimensions are exactly the same on the website, because same as printing, there's actually no, sometimes there are surprises when you translate things into the screen. The screen, everything that you see on the screen is pixel based. So here there's all the other options, they're not available, it's only pixels, because that's how the screens output information, right? In small squares of information with colors. So when we get to the web design, responsive web design is really important to also make sure you are giving the user the best approach and the best accessibility to things, right? Things are being organized so they can find things perfect and they have to scroll through other parts. The next point is develop for multiple browsers. This is obviously once you have a web developer and he's going to help you with the code, just make sure, tell them that it should look well in all browsers, because even though they do the same thing, which is serve web pages from a server, the server is hard drive allocated in another part of the world or somewhere, and it has the info. Not all browsers render the images and the code the same. So there's little differences, and mostly with Microsoft. I hate them. They just like to do everything like so difficult. I'm sorry, I have Windows, but yeah, I like Macs, but Windows, yeah, it's different. It's like just a different
I'll take
thing.
that as a compliment.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool, but it's different. Just different thing. It's important to check your website for errors. This means that if you have someone else to proofread stuff, like give you a second opinion, and kind of like get everything in place, calls to action, pronunciation, punctuation, and other little details that sometimes it goes, like under the radar, and when people, mostly our client sees, and it's like, oh, even if it's just a couple of letters in a word, they do matter at the end. Write your own code. This means that sometimes it's very easy just to have like a template, which is really handy when you want to start. But down the road, if you have like extra code that is yours, like people will notice, right? Like, oh, what's that little thing floating, or what's that item doing on the website? It looks cool, and that's kind of like a little extra thing that gives you more like kind of like a edgy, right? It's more edge to your website. And at the end is, don't forget the content. In this case, some of our clients are mostly entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs, they like to do everything by themselves, which is great, because that's how you start things really fast and prototype. But at the end, once you have something solid, make sure to get a professional, in the design. Is like, oh, I want to do this with my website. And then have a copywriter who helps you, like translate your voice into the website. Same as a photographer. Like, there's a lot of free images you can start with, but at the end, it's even people can tell when you have like a photo, right, of your office and you in action rather than a stock photo. So that's really important. Any questions from here?
Yeah. Is there any evidence that one type of body font is more readable than others, other than like really obvious, serif versus sans serif for some like screamingly ugly, no Comic Sans or stuff? But is there any evidence out there that these 1-2 fonts, they've done studies, and from a usability point of view, if you go with this font, it's going to be more readable to more people, like not just someone's preference, but actual depth.
Yeah, Charlie, I mean, in general, the sans serif, which means that it doesn't have
but
any...
within sans serif, yeah, for sure sans serif.
You mean like a special font
Actual
family?
names of fonts, and this font is better for body copy, forgetting about headline text, but for, if you use body font for people reading, text site, Geneva is better than X, or this font is better than Y for readability.
Or maybe Dana can help me here, but on my side I said Arial and Helvetica. You know the classic standards.
For body font, not
Yeah.
title.
Yeah, for body, just to read for the paragraphs, right? That's what you mean.
So it's been there since the beginning, right? It's
Yeah,
so
so
it's Arial.
Yeah, they're all like the main go-tos, for fonts.
When you are talking about readability, what are we specifically talking about? Are we talking about, because, I have seen websites that use Lucida handwriting. Now, if you don't know what it is, it's, just for those who don't know, it's the type of handwriting where everything is connected to each other. All the letters of the word are connected to each other. And it's readable for some. For me, it isn't. So when we talk about readable, is it like distinguishing that it is like, I can see that the text is written, but I can't understand what it's written on there just because I haven't been used to reading that type of handwriting before. So when we talk about readability, is it that we can see that it is visible, or is it a matter of being able to understand the text itself?
I think it's the second one, because what you want to do down the road is people to, in websites, people only spend like 3 to 5 seconds in a web page, right? When they go new and they're like, oh, let's check this out, it means like I have 3 seconds or 5. If they don't see something that they can understand and grab their attention, it's gone. So you want to have something, at least for the paragraphs, sans serif, so they can read. Also the space between the font, which is called the line height, it's important. If it's too compressed, too crammed, it's not easy to read. So that also, it depends, right? Letter spacing, the spacing between letters also affects how people, read faster information. And just to answer your question, Myriad Pro is for the web, the font that I will say is the most likely to get voted on, the first one to be easier to read, and it's sans serif. But it costs, usually fonts for the web, there are free ones, like Google Fonts, that I'm going to show you a couple of links later. Or the Google Fonts, there are like over 1,000 fonts that you can choose from. And they are like paid ones. The paid ones could be from $400 to thousands of dollars, just for one font family. Any other question? Okay, so next we're gonna go through sizes of images for your websites. So file dimension and file size. So something you have to understand, there's 2 things, and I'm gonna write them here. So file dimension is in pixels, and file size is kilobytes or megabytes. So we have pixels and kilobytes or megabytes. So 1,000 kilobytes is 1 megabyte. So basically what you want to look here is an image. Once I'm gonna go to number 2, which is inspecting files. You have to be able to learn how to inspect a file just to know where you're at first, right? Like you're gonna say like, okay, I download this image from the internet, or my designer gave me the image. So if you have a Mac, you go Control-I, which is on any image on your desktop, and there's gonna open a panel. This panel gives you all the information you need to know, megabytes, and a lot of stuff. That's where you're gonna see the actual file size. Command-I. And for PCs, usually I think there must be like a control, click, and then you can inspect the file. Get the info of the
you
file.
right click on the file and then click on properties.
Exactly, properties. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So yeah, so understanding this is two different things. So the pixels is actually the size on the screen they're gonna use, and the file size could be greater or less than the pixel size, because there's a couple of things variables playing within the same space. So if it's if you want like a smaller size, you have to compress the image or lower the quality. And this can be used with some editors like Photoshop or Illustrator. We're gonna see later that Canva this does all this for us, because it outputs stuff for the web. You don't need to do this, but just for you to understand what's happening here. I'm gonna jump into dimension or physical size. So for the web, if you're gonna use all the screen size, it's recommended that you use something around 1280 to 2000 pixels, or approximately 100 to 1.5 megabytes. This is kilobytes or megabytes. This is just because when you start loading resources, like all the images, the website, plus you're loading the fonts, plus you're loading the scripts, it is easier for the browser to render all the information, and it won't take longer to load. When the websites take longer to load, is because all the images are really big, and most of the images are really big. That's the main problem. Usually the scripts, whoever code the website, totally, there's also other guidelines they need to know just to make it, lighter. So, okay, so this is the file size. Any questions about this?
Sorry, that's just for screens, or what's this for?
Yeah, if you use, for example, you have your computer, and you're using, this is your website, a huge image, the banner, you see when you come to the website and it's the hero intro, like this image, it should be, this is the largest file. So it could be 1280 to 2000 pixels, or 100K and 1.5 megabytes. For all the other images, which are smaller on the website, like you see all these little images, it's great to know at least what's the size, because if, again, in the screen it's all pixels, if you have like a 400 by 300 pixels here, you don't need to make like a bigger image and then just put it there, because it's gonna still be big. So it's good to you have it the exact size you're gonna put it onto the page.
How do you know when you're doing that if it's showing up on my screen versus someone who has a big desktop?
How do you know?
Sorry, I guess what I mean is that does it matter what size it is then?
You mean for example, if you want to put a smaller image and then you make it to a big screen, is it the same thing?
I guess, yeah.
Kinda? I mean, kinda like this, we have a computer and then we have a bigger.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, actually the screens, how they're gonna work is just gonna make the proportion bigger. It's not gonna affect it, because you mean right now that screen is probably 15 inches and this is obviously more than 15 inches. It's just gonna, proportionate make it bigger. What it really matters is how you see, where you design it for which size. That's why
So you design it for one specific screen size, or?
Yeah, usually they design it for a standard laptop, or at least with the designers I work with, because everybody has a laptop. and then we create the mobile views, which are smaller. In web design, what happens is like it's creating images and other stuff collapses, and there's code for images so they can make it smaller and bigger. But usually it's good to go from big to small, because same as print design, if you go to small to big, it's gonna look pixelate, which means it loses information. So, for example, if you have an image with like skies, and then you make it bigger, and then the skies start looking kind of like gray, that's when it means pixelate. You start seeing like the loss of information somewhere around that area.
Is there a particular, if you're using WordPress, is there a particular plugin that you'd recommend that would automatically convert your regular image sizes to the different mobile sizes? Would that be sort of part of the theme in some cases, or you have to get a separate plugin to do that?
It's usually it's part of the theme and how the theme is coded. Because most of the times, again, it's like a line of code makes it, like go smaller or big. But the important thing is how we upload it. And I'm going to show all that after in Canva. So yeah, again, I mean, some of this is like, once you have like, the right images, the sizes, and like, from the designer, when you have the design, like, oh, this image is like 400 by 600. So that's how you can resize your images and make it at least at the most 1.5 megabytes, but it's usually keep it under. Usually keep it like if there are small images around 100 to 400K. And once your images are all proper ready to go, you're gonna have like better website, the load speed, and it's gonna be a better user experience too, right? So again, remember, like, people don't take more than 5 seconds to visit a new page, which is really interesting.
Terrifying.
I know. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure if you mentioned already the image preparation tools.
No, exactly. We're gonna check it out. So the image preparation tools you can use, again, if you have a Mac, if you double click an image, you're going to open a preview. Once you open preview, you can save. Then do you have an image here? Can I just show them the preview? Maybe let's connect these.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to connect these. Thank you. Okay, so this is similar software has like the PCs. I don't know what's the name, but when you click, I think it's Open Viewer or for Viewer or something similar. So you have in a Mac, you double click the photo and you open the preview. From here, from the preview, you can do a couple of things. This is also where we are gonna. There's an online editor for this. I'm gonna show you after, but the most important part here is, if you go to File and duplicate the file, which creates a new file, you can enter a name here at the top. And then when you save, you're going to see all this information here, which is the quality, and it gives you actually the size, you see, of the megabytes that you're going to input, this is really, really useful. And similar to PCs, there's the same program does the same thing when you save. And again, if you go lower, you can see, 796, so below 1,000 kilobytes, it's like a safe place for images. So in this case, this is part of the preparation. And also, if you draw a crop here, a square, on the picture. And then this tool over here is the tools on the right side, and then you crop it. You know, you can select part of the image, and again, you can save it for, you know, later instead of having all the other space around the image.
In preview, could I constrain that cropped to like a certain pixel by pixel size? Or is this just not the tool for that?
Well, this is pretty limited, but it's actually pretty useful too. So I mean, in this case, you can undo. You must have to just select the part you
Okay,
want.
but it does show you right there at the bottom right what your pixels are. Okay.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can here go into, you know, a lot of mathematics, because, you know, you have the pixel and you have the size, but mostly it's like, you know, the proportion, right? But again, you can, yeah, follow the pixels. There's sometimes, for example, this image is 4,000 megabytes, so it's really big. And definitely it's going to have more space, you know, like the dots per inch and all that. But again, if you crop it and then you save, you're gonna, most important, what you need to know is know how big it's going to be.
So is that compressing the image then, if you do like make the image smaller before you save it?
Mm-hmm. What happened is, like, you know, the quality is being compromised, so you basically are removing pixels in between. You know, like that's, you have like 10 pixels, and the orange, for going from orange to red, you're just removing 5 here, and, you know, it compresses the image.
So if
You
that
can actually, sorry, someone was saying about constraining size. If you go into, you can custom make the width, the height, and the resolution. You can go under tools and adjust size.
Right, for resizing, yeah.
And then you can keep it there.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, actually, yeah, you can just put the information of the pixel. And again, make sure if it's for, obviously the web is 72 pixels, 72 dpi here.
So if I'm doing something for retina screen, do I need to do anything differently than, because it apparently can show more information? What do I?
You know what, mostly, and I'm guessing you have a WordPress website. The WordPress website, the themes, they allow you to input for Retina, which is just larger format. It allows you to add the main image and the copies, or, you know, others for Retina display. It's just basically a larger file, because
Let's say you download like a 10 meg file photo, and normally if you're just going to put it on the web, you don't need anything bigger than 72 dpi. For retina screen, is it 150 dpi, or is there a higher resolution, or what's in terms of the size that you need to?
in terms of the size, you can go a little bit higher, yeah, like 20% higher Retina display of what you usually will do for a normal website. Nowadays, what happens is, like, once you upload a file into, let's say, WordPress, the theme, sometimes it splits automatically for Retina. You know, you don't have to do really anything. Like the framework itself gives you the other copies. WordPress, when you upload a file, automatically crops like a thumbnail. It crops a medium file and a large file. And depends where you show the photo is where they grab the photo to and show it.
I'm just sort of thinking, like, in terms of the raw size that I would save it before I throw it into the website for us. It's got to be like 20% bigger than I normally would do for just.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I would say throw the 1.5 megabyte file. What happened is, like, same as you were commenting about the DPIs, above 2000 DPI. When you get to 1.5 megabyte, which is around 2000 pixels, the eye cannot differentiate the quality. Do you know what I mean? So it's not much difference. If you keep uploading photos larger than that, it's going to look the same as a 1.5 megabyte image. Yeah.
Is DPI the same as pixels per inch?
No, at least not in web. In web is just pixels.
Okay. So DPI is only related to printing. Yeah.
Dana?
They're not the same, but you can calculate them the same. Like for example, if you wanted to make this picture and size it for print, you would size it at 300 pixels per inch. So while pixels and dots aren't the same, kind of use them the same. You would use the same numbers. Does that help?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
know it's complicated. So
yeah. So you don't really need to just when you print in dots. You don't print in pixels.
Mhm.
But when you're looking at a picture on a computer, you're looking at it in pixels. So they're not the same, but you would calculate them the same.
But so like for web pictures, I guess if it looks fuzzy to you, it will look fuzzy to other people. So
For web use.
yeah, so you
Exactly.
don't really need to worry about it. But I guess it's 72 pixels per inch would be what you're kind of aiming for. Is that right? In the photo, does that make sense? So like if I had a really small photo and I wanted to use it as the main header photo and I blew it up, it would have to be minimum 72 pixels per inch to look okay.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but yeah, usually you're looking at if it's big, make sure it's above 1280 pixels. In the case for you, it's gonna be easier to go into pixels when you're looking things on a web page. You know what I mean?
So could you not like?
I'm gonna just show you here. So for example, these are the pixels, right? So these are the pixels on the screen. And what happens when you compress things, you start losing, these pixels. And then the representation is the image with only these pixels. And that's how you create like the visual aspect. The eye recreates all the holes in between. So the more you compress, the more you lose in the process. So when you have like a small image, even though it has all these things, it has to fill a bigger space, like a larger area. You know what I mean? So if you go from small to big, it's gonna look really pixelated bad.
Right. I guess what I'm asking is what's the kind of rule of thumb for that? Because for instance, if I had a small photo, I could expand it to be 1200 pixels wide, but it would be missing some of the pixels, right, in between.
Well, the information, because it's already small, it might be compressed already. So you don't have this. So when it go bigger, this has to use the space, all the space available. So there's already data loss because it's smaller, probably it's compressed. So the best bet is to have like a large image, full quality, and make it smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna use like the space of all the computer screen, go for between 1280 to 2000 pixels wide.
So that's kind of the minimum. 1280 is the minimum for an original file if you want to use it for that full screen.
The width, because when you have like an image 1280 width, it doesn't matter the height because you're proportionately resizing.
Okay.
Like 1280 is this 1280. 1280, this is the size of a 1280 photo. Any other question? Okay. So there's a couple of things here you just want to add too. So it's really important when you create a web design. However you group the elements, they're gonna have like a certain function. So for example, when you see the Facebook like button and it goes under the photo, right? Like someone posts a photo and below you have like the Facebook like, the thumb, and then you have the comment, you have the share and all these things. It has like a white border that it says that it's, these functions are belonging to this photo. Like you group them together they have like the same area, you know, in the photo. Therefore, you know, people, if they're new, they're gonna know that, oh, these functions belong to the. So again, if you have a lot of random things floating around and they kind of the same functionality, just make them grouped, get it together. White space, what we were talking before, is called also negative space, which is could be of course good and bad, but most of the time it's really good to have you separate content with the white space, right? If you have call to actions, just make sure it has like a bottom space on the top and at the bottom, because it stands out and it pops, and people will be able to easier, you know, draw attention to it, and you know, be like, oh wow, this, you know, like just make them do whatever you want to do or go to where they really want to go. The white space also really trendy right now because, you know, it's clean, you know, it's simple, it's trendy because, you know, it gets this feeling of sophisticated, calm too, but mostly sophisticated design. So, you know, like it's really a good option to use a lot of space. Not a lot, but yeah, like considerable space. Clashing colors make elements stand out. This means that, again, going with the accent color, and you have your primary color and you have your accent color. If you have like clashing means, I'm just gonna show you. Clashing means in this case, the opposite, this is the color spectrum, going to the opposite of each color. And that's their base kind of like clashing mates for doing, you know, like contrast. So if you wanna have, if your website is blue and you wanna have a call to action, probably this is your best bet here, right? Just to have like a button or color that pops. Any questions about it? Again, consistency is, I mean, obviously one of the best things to do on a website, because that's how you know, users don't have to, you know, think where they are. They're just right there. You're providing the experience of your house. Everything looks the same. You have it, you know, the menu in the same area. Your footer has the same information. Your fonts are the same, and colors. It's just for a user experience, better user experience. And also, what I'm going to share with you here is some psychological effects of the colors. The colors are really, really powerful when you present them to people. And I mean, most of the time people don't know, but it's really great to know if you want them to feel a certain way when they go and visit your website, or when they see a button, a call to action. Probably you won't put a red, because even though it's powerful and passionate, but it's also alarming, right? So red means red means alert, and they probably won't hit the button that is red because they, you know, it's the feel you get from that. Usually the blue, the dark blue, is used with banks. I don't know if you have seen most of the banks are blues, because it's trustworthy, professional, secure. It's a safe color like Facebook, right? Like, it's not random that you choose like a blue color. It's there's people who knows this, and that's exactly what they do. Black and white, you know, it's a great combination. White is clean, you know, it's kind of like, you know, doctors wear white, or hospitals, clean, you trust them, you feel pure. Black is sophisticated, you know, it can be edgy, but just in great combination, it can create like a powerful effect. Most of websites have clean white background because that's how you read things faster. Like in the 90s, they tried all these crazy backgrounds, and obviously it didn't work. So now we're going to, you know, the basics, which is black and white. You can, you know, try combinations of colors, but again, most of the colors come when people are creating a website, and there's other steps involved in creation of a website and a brand. There's some questions that you can answer, and people can, and brand specialists can take this info and translate into colors, and translate into your voice, and translate into the images and how the logo looks. It's called a brand personality. But for now, you can play with this, and you know, nothing bad if you experiment with it. Any up?
Just as a side note, this is for Western cultures. For cultures that are different from Westerns, these colors mean totally differently. Just to give you guys a heads up.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So, for instance, yellow in here, you said it represents something warm, happy, or alert. In Middle Eastern countries, it refers to as hate, disgust, and ignorance.
Wow, that's good to know.
So, if you're ever designing a website for the Middle East, never use yellow.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you some links here before we jump into the Canva workshop. So, well, this is Canva. Probably all you know they have a link, right? They just have a link, so you go and hit. This is where you can, like after we create something here, if you wanna go and refresh how Canva works quickly. These two. This one is the free photos. You were asking me before, right, about the free photos. You can go on these websites, and all these photos are high resolution, which means like over 5,000 megabytes, and they are free to use. There are people uploading from all over the world. Mostly they're textures, right, like birds and mountains and rivers, and like there's no specific. But yeah, exactly. You can crop them with what the tools we're gonna learn right now, and use the parts you want. And there's an online editor. If there's a time, we'll see it online. But again, you can use the same. You can have the same results with your Apple Preview or Mac. What's the name of the Mac? Sorry, the PC for the photos. It's not Preview, right?
No,
It's
it's
called Photo Manager, Picture
Or photo-
Manager,
yeah, photo manager.
something like that.
Well, I don't use it, so.
But yeah, these photos here, they are great, and there are categories, and you can do more, like a lot of stuff with them. Yeah.
I'm wondering if I Google some picture, I see that picture, I like it, can I just use it for free? Basically, I'm not for commercial, I don't sell. Is it, or I can just write it, and then maybe just say that it's from all these resources from internet. I just say like that, and I'm not for the business. Can I just use it without finding who had owned this picture for the copyright thing?
Technically, no. To use a photo from the internet, you have to ask permission for the photo. Like as the author, contact them and ask them if you can use it. And sometimes they will want to charge you money for that.
Oh, but for this one, I can use free
Oh,
stock.
no, for this one you can use them, yeah, free.
Okay,
They are
great,
free
yeah,
to
yeah.
use. Like, but if you grab a photo from the internet, from the
Okay,
search
so
result, I mean, technically you can, because you just can grab them and use it, but if they find it, they could sue you.
Oh, okay, so better
Or
to
online
save
shooting
place
it
and
really badly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
You can also go to search with Google and Creative Commons license. And there's different types of Creative Commons license. There's some free, some different conditions. So as long as you check the conditions, they've got different search engines to find sites that you can use for commercial use or not commercial. You can edit it, not edit it, stuff like that.
yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, let's jump into the workshop. Any other questions before we exit this part? No? Comments? Jokes?
I did have a question
Yeah.
related to image. So we talked about image sizing and pixels and everything, but what about image types? So like JPEG versus EPS versus PNG versus GIF versus, like, what are the differences in those as far as how you would use them?
Yeah, totally. And we are going to also see it in Canva in action.
Okay.
But yeah, there's the main types Images are yeah, JPG, PNG. This is, well, EPS is vector, but yeah, it's also in the file. All this other stuff like TIFF and GIF, which is more for the print part. Some people also sometimes do photos in PDF, but mainly for the web, you're gonna be definitely using PNGs and JPG. PNG is like a full quality photo. This one cannot be compressed. It's exactly what the full quality, the highest format available of the photo, and it's just a type of file. Mostly it's from Macs, but now obviously the computers can read both nowadays. So this one is JPG. It was more for obviously PCs, but again you can read all of the computers. Probably because we're talking about compression, this one will be a best option because you can compress this file. This file can be compressed. You can make it obviously smaller, and what we saw online, with the tool. PNG is the full quality, but again, it's not. We can use it. These two files for the web. These ones are more for print. EPS is a vector file. A GIF is like an animated, right? Let's say animated file.
Yeah.
TIFF is what's this?
Just a higher quality.
It's like higher quality, right? Mm-hmm.
So PNG, for example, can hold, you can have a transparent background in a PNG if you're using something for your website, but a JPEG can't hold any transparency.
So,
What's the difference between EPS and AI?
EPS, it's the actual file, that you get. AI is an Illustrator file, like it comes from Illustrator. Although it's the same, it's vector files, so you can open an EPS into an Illustrator program.
But AI is specific to
just Illustrator. Then sometimes in Illustrator you can save as PDFs and open again in Illustrator and it saves vectors. But again, it's more for graphic design specific.
Yeah, PDF is just, you can save anything as you can save a Word doc as a PDF, you can save an image as a PDF, and it's more, a PDF is more a way to share something where everybody can open it because Adobe Reader is free software. But I wouldn't use anything as a PDF in anything you're making. Like I wouldn't save a picture as a PDF and use that in your file. I would save it as one of the other formats, like a JPEG, likely, or an EPS if you're printing, or an A file. PDF is more, hey, look what I made you. How does this look to you? What do you want done? More of that kind of communication tool versus an actual photo file type to use. But when you save something to print, you would save a print-ready PDF instead of sending the printer the working art file. You would save a specific type of PDF, and I can show you how to do that later. But if you guys want to know how to do that, save it properly to print something out.
When you're doing that, what would you say that as just PDF? Is there some thing to go with that, or is there some way of doing that?
For print, yeah, there's definitely things you would include in a PDF file that you save for print. Like you would include a bleed, which is some part of the art you want to set up. You'd have crop marks. You want to make sure it's at a certain resolution. So there are different settings you would have when you're saving a PDF for print versus just, hey, look what I did. Does this look good to you? Good. Now I'm going to save a specific PDF for print.
Can you go over that with Canva?
It's limited Canva for that.
I think Canva's more for web.
Mm-hmm.
Web
For
images.
online images, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an upgrade of Canva that has more little things, but yeah, still it's more for web.
Yeah.
But
But-
yeah, let's,
But if you can output something high res enough, you could potentially use what you make for print, potentially.
Can I show you?
Yeah, we can look at that. I've only looked at it a little bit for this to see sort of what it is, but yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into Canva. I'm guessing everybody have their account, or you can log in with Facebook, so it's really easy. You just open Canva, log in with Facebook.
Looks like you might be able to print some stuff out, so it looks like they have printed stuff. You can do template or the
I
letters.
prepared
Stuff like that.
a program printed that through Canva, so.
Okay, then I would think that if they have that program feature, it would be something you can print out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have a look after. I mean, it's, you know, if you want some input on your work. So everybody, I mean, when you are here, let me know. Just want to make sure we're on the same page, literally. So this is once you log in to your account and you click the Create Design button. This is what you're gonna see. Again, you have all these awesome templates that we were kind of joking with them. It's like, yeah, now, you know, you only need this. This is really already made, and this is like really awesome, and they give you a lot of variations. So yeah, let's just explore a bit. You have all these marketing tools, social media, for events. Like, it's pretty much ready to use, and it's really complete. So I'm gonna show you first how to use a template, and then we can upload our own stuff. So you can kind of like then at the end mix and match, and you can use with template with your own stuff and just tweak it to make it personal. So if you click the design you want to go in, let's say the social media, it's gonna jump straight into, first of all, the site, which is like a square. And this means obviously you can share on Instagram and Facebook, mostly for Instagram because it's a square, but you can share it anywhere after. And on the left side, you're gonna see all the layouts available for the design. All these layouts, what it's going to do is use the same font, the same design. It's gonna translate it there once we choose one, but the ability of change anything on the design. We can change the colors, we can change the font, the text, we can change the image if we want. So let's choose one of your choice. So yeah, once you choose the design, it's gonna show up here. And again, like Canvas is so easy that the only thing you have to do is double click a layer. A layer is, each single element of the design. Usually when you are designing, you start, adding something, which is the background, that's one layer. Then you add the image, and a layer, then the main text and small text. When you double click, you can either Command A or Control A, select all the layer, and in this case whatever you put here is going to be in the middle, because this design is already made the template. You see the text box here is already centering the text, so just replace the text with